Okay, we're going to start on this telephone here, the oak telephone. I showed you a few of them before, and this is actually the worst one, so I thought, why not start there? I always like to get the hard ones over with. You can see it's all oak. It's pretty rough. It's really just nothing more than a bare case. But before we start sanding and finishing, we have to take care of some of the holes. And if you notice right here, there's two holes right there. Well, earlier I showed you a shelf that I made, and so we don't have to worry about filling those. This is going to go right there, and since I already finished this, I need to match the case to the shelf. So we're going to look for some other imperfections here, and right here is where the receiver hook goes. So that's okay. And if you look around here, we see a little damage there. That's something I wouldn't even bother with. This thing is probably, it's around 100 years old or so, 80 to 100. And it's got a few wormholes here. That's something I don't really bother with either. But as we turn it over, there's something that bothered me. And as you can see right here, this had some bad spots in it, and probably the correct way to do this would be to cut this out and replace it with a piece of oak. But as you can see from the front, there's no damage. So I'm one of them guys that likes to get the things done as quick as possible, because I know people want to try to save as much money as they can. So the more work I get in this, the more I have to ask. So price-wise. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some wood filler here. This is just standard wood filler. It's actually walnut. I don't have any natural here. I would use it. But being that this wood will turn somewhat dark because of the patina and the age, we can get away with this. It's just on the back. And what I'm going to do is squirt this in here. You want to push it into the wood so it bonds good. And this will probably take 2 coats. So what I'm going to do is just put that in there, use my wood chisel, and try to smooth it a little. So the one thing you always have to be aware of whenever you're doing stuff like this, don't forget you're going to have to sand it. So the rougher you leave it, the more you're going to have to sand it and smooth it. And as you can see right there, that's good enough. Sometimes I just keep messing around trying to get it perfect, and what I do is end up making a mess. So that's good enough for the first coat. We're just going to leave that there. And the next thing we're going to do, we're going to turn it over, and we're going to start doing some finish work on it. And what we have to do first is we have to do some sanding. And I would recommend always, I start with like 120 or 100. You know, you want to try to sand as fast as you can. So if you use too coarse a paper, you have to go down several steps because you don't want sand marks in it. And one thing, it's critical, always sand with the grain. And as you see this, you can see which way the grain goes. It's pretty obvious, it goes this way. So what you want to do is just sand it. If you have a power sander, that's okay, you can use that. And you can see just from a little bit of sanding, it's starting to clear up already. And it's amazing how this will look when we're done. I've just worked with wood so much, I know that this is going to have a beautiful color to it. And that just comes with time. And once you go over it with, this is 100, This is aluminum oxide. I like to use aluminum oxide paper. I've used it for years. I can't really tell you specifically why, but I believe I read once it seems not to clog as much. And you can see here we have 220. It's also aluminum oxide. Once you get the worst off, you want to start smoothing it. And you can see a black line here. I'll use that 100 again. I'm just trying to you want to try to get as close to the edge as possible. Normally I use power sanders, but on something this small, you know, this will work fine. And you can always run your hand over it and you can feel it. If it's smooth, you know you're ready. I don't like that dark. You put one coat of stain on it, and I'm going to use a very light stain. It's really not going to color it that much. It's more, I use it just for trying to blend everything, try to keep it as even as possible in the color. And when you put your first coat of varnish on it, or polyurethane or oil or whatever you want to use, what you're going to do, the grain's going to raise. Wood is made up of small fibers, and when you get it wet, it raises. So after a first coat of a finish, you're going to feel it's going to feel really rough. And a lot of people quit there. And it's a big mistake because they did much of the work, all the hard work. Well, all they got to do is lightly sand it with 220 again after the first coat, and you're going to knock them fibers off. And then you put one more coat on it, and it's going to be very smooth. And a little trick I've always used, I'm kind of funny on my finishes. You know, if you have a spray outfit, that's nice, but a lot of people don't have the money or the inclination to set up a spray system. When you brush it on after that second coat, what I'd like to do is get 4/0 steel wool. It's very fine. It's got 4 zeros behind it. And I just lightly rub it with the 4/0 steel wool, and you can get it just as smooth as you want. And it really adds that final touch and gives you a great look. So we're going to end this video here. I just wanted to get started so you can see we're starting kind of with a pretty rough item. And slowly you're going to see it before your very eyes turn into something great. And this is Ray saying see you later. And give it a try. Buy yourself a piece of junk and maybe I can help you through it. We got a comment section here. I'm welcome to take questions and see if I can help you out. See you later.